Let me say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you who are viewing us this morning via GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, or Channel 20. Good morning also to our social media, of course, listeners and viewers, whether you're viewing us via the Facebook page, YouTube channels. Those of you also via GBN's webpage, gbn.gd. Good morning and welcome. I'm your host, GT. Welcome to this edition of To The Point. Let me say good morning to my guest. There's always a little saying that ladies first, so let me say good morning to, of course, it's Carlene. I get it right?
Yes.
Carlene Perryman. Good morning to you.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning to you. We also have with us Mr. Dimeon Castle with us this morning, and we also have Mr. Kerlon Peters with us this morning. Good morning to you all, and welcome to The Point.
Thank you for having us.
How's everybody doing? I'm getting that kind of I like folks lighting up when they're with me. Anyway.
We good. We are sports people. It's youth and sports.
All right.
We definitely in that mood.
All right. Well, we're dealing with youth. All of us youthful, so we go that way. All right. So tell me, Ministry of Youth and Sports. There's a lot of initiatives that, of course, that's soon to be implemented, already in progress, if I could say so. Also, let's kick it off with you, Carlene. Tell us about some of the new initiatives that are taking place within the Ministry of Sport. That of course, our listeners and viewers will certainly be loving to hear about.
All right. So I'm going to start with one of the initiatives that a lot of our young people are excited about. Our AI Youth Summit, which is carded to start within the next couple of weeks before the end of May. This AI Youth Summit is going to take over 100 young persons, and it's going to take them into understanding the role that AI plays. It's going to give them opportunities for jobs that they can do remotely, etc. It's going to introduce them to a number of interesting things that are happening in technology that Grenadian young people can take advantage of, to whether it is to create their own jobs, seek job opportunities outside of the region while remaining at home, and allowing them to understand the technologies and the tools that are at their disposal and maximizing their use of it.
The emphasis be of course, that you state on a program of that nature. What's the real reason of a program of that nature? I understand you mentioned a lot, getting young people to get into AI. We know that's the way of the world today. The main reason behind an initiative of that nature.
Well, we're living in a technological world, and we need to get our young people to understand and to be able to use it in a responsible manner. Not just use it for entertainment purposes, but to be able to maximize it economically, to be able to create jobs on their own, to be able to access jobs and access a number of opportunities that are there for them. We are realizing that our young people are heading in towards a more creative field as well. They're looking into non-traditional forms of employment, non-traditional forms of creating their economical resources, and this is why this program is here, to give them an opportunity to explore what it is that they can do within that realm.
All right. How could young people be part of this particular initiative? How could young people be part of this? The process that they have to go through in order to get in.
So the registration is closed. We actually carded this to start earlier in the year. However, we had an overwhelmingly amount of persons applying, etc. So to the point where we weren't able to adequately cater for the influx of persons that we were getting. So we postponed it. That's why we're starting in May. So we have over 100 and something young people registered for this. The good thing about it is that this program is also training trainers. So with the training of the trainers, we're hoping that these trainers would be able to know give other young people the opportunity to engage in this particular program later on in the year. That way we're using local persons to facilitate rather than have persons coming in to facilitate the session. We're also going to be having a component of this particular program during our summer program, so that our young persons who are in school, they too can maximize their opportunity in that way.
All right. What are some other initiatives coming in that of course, you would like to share with us this morning?
Yes. So we have our Empower. Empower is going to be restarting 4.0. We're excited to see 4.0. We started, just to backtrack a bit, 3.0 would the cohort for that batch, they graduated in November
of last year.
So December they received their grants. January some of them are implementing the grants into their small businesses, etc. And you'll hear more about that as we feature some of them on some of our Facebook pages or Instagram page, etc. So we're starting after we would have met with some of our partners to assess the program to see how we can better it. The idea is is that at the end of a program, we need to take time, we need to assess, we need to see how we can offer more value to our participants. So this year, we're looking at an open call. So it's going to go out to everybody. Everybody has access to that particular program. When we're looking at men, that is men who are unemployed, etc., and looking to upskill themselves, looking for forms of employment, etc. So we're going to have that open call. The registration process is going to actually begin next month, where we're going to go into the various communities and actually physically register these young men into the program. We're also looking in August, September, to do a male symposium to launch the program and to introduce these young men into the program, to get them to be inspired by young men who are doing amazing things within their community, young men who have been a part of the program, young men who have been exactly where they are, and they have been able to elevate themselves, etc., just to get them into that forum and inspire them. Because the idea is we want to ensure that everybody who registered in the program, they graduate successfully. We do not want to go down the road where we register, let's say, 500 persons, and then at the end, only 200 persons graduate. We want everybody who registered to graduate. So we want to make sure that the introduction into the program is something that overwhelms them with inspiration to maintain it.
Empower 4.0, what are the main components of it? Awesome.
So we have the symposium that we're going to launch with. Then in September, we're going to have a couple weeks, 2 months, I believe, of core skills, where they're going to be exposed to life skills, etc., entrepreneurial skills. They're going to be doing some community service, etc., within that 2 months. At the end of that 2 months, they're going to go into the actual certification skills, where these young men are going to choose what it is that they want to be certified in. So whether it is plumbing, whether it's mechanics, whatever it is that they want, once NTA has the facilities to engage them and to train them, and they have the facilitators, they have the facilities, etc., they can go into these fields and they will be engaged there for the next couple months. And at the end of it, they will be given a grant where they can use that grant funds to propel them into becoming entrepreneurs, etc.
So the NTA also plays a crucial part in this.
Yes, they are part of the training. They provide the training.
All right, great. I mean, of course, you've been saying a whole lot. Let's go to Dimeon in this segment. Dimeon, good morning to you, Mr. Castle. How you doing?
Good morning.
All right. Now, you're in charge of the playing fields and so forth around the island. You know, tell us what's up with that. Of course, but what are you in charge of and stuff?
Playing fields, basically they are categorized. So we have 3 categories of fields. We have minor, secondary, and major. The minor fields are basically community-based fields. The secondary, are those fields that you can accommodate football, cricket, and so. The major fields are the fields that have at least a 300-meter track and they have amenities. And when we speak of amenities, we're talking about toilet facilities, bleachers, and so. To use the fields, you do an application. The application should be addressed to the permanent secretary. You state the name of your function, the date you want to have your function, and that application should be done at least 4 weeks prior to the activity. There are some applications based on the function. So if it is a political rally, a church function, a school sports, those activities do not attract a fee. But any other activity, they will attract a fee, and the fee falls based on the category of field that you're going to use.
Or even the event per se?
Based on the event, yes. So, for example, with the major field, it starts with a minimum of $5,000 with a maximum of $15,000 you can charge for the use of that facility. Coming up for this period, we have upgrades, renovation to at least 4 fields. 1 major field and 3 minor fields. So we would start with the Fond Recreation Ground. We do a complete grading of that field, and we'd also do renovations to the toilet and bathroom facilities there. And then we'd look at non-parallel, we'd look at Malmount, and also we'll do some works at the Union playing field.
Now, the option of charge, because, you know, as a youngster growing up, you hear the talk about, I can go play in a field as I want. You understand? People always had that particular premonition about using fields. Why the charge actually came into that?
That has been a cabinet conclusion some years ago. And that basically has to do with the major activities. So if you're having a show, those costs would cover,
and I guess the maintenance aspect of it also. Yes.
And even if you have the activity, afterwards the field would be assessed before and after the activity. So in case there are damages, you would be charge for the repairs to those to cover the cost of the damages.
All right, great. Because I come with a question because recently there was that conversation that relates to the National Stadium also, where events were held in terms of the new track that was put down and so forth, and the concern individual have. How concerned are you or you, of course, being in charge of fees? Is that also related to the National Stadium also?
No, the National Stadium is statutory. That
doesn't fall under your category. So just the regular playing fields around the island. That's more or less.
Everything else besides the National Stadium.
Okay, great. I understand. So well, love to hear that. Well, I guess we could go to Mr. Peters. Good morning to you once again. So welcome. Our conversation that we're going to have recently, the sports policy, of course, and usually there's the component of it in terms of where they had. What's it? I'm missing the point on it in terms of where after it does. I'm missing the point.
So we had the consultation.
The consultation that was held.
It was a policy since 2010.
How was that from the consultation part of it? How's that process? How was that process?
The consultation process, it was we go on in each parish to revise and revisit the sports policy, the policy on sports and physical activity that was implemented since 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So now, everything need to be updated. Time change.
Yes.
Persons change. So we needed to. So we do a consultation with the parishes and go over some of the objective that may have need to be added now. Like for instance, most of the consultation they spoke about mental wellness, health and fitness, non-competitive and competitive sports. So it's a different topics that we needed to, even AI, we needed to be added, into it. So that process plays a key role. Where we are now today, we are now in election stage now.
Elections.
Yeah, so we are election of parish sports.
Well, if we could just hold a bit, how was, in terms of the reconsultation, what was the feedback like, you would say?
The feedback was good, very good. The feedback was good on numerous persons and clubs, so they did it online, we did it locally, we did it to the diaspora, we did it in all these clubs. So it was with our staff. So it was a national consultation, reconsultation.
All right.
For the development. So the process they then went through, making the adjustment, going back to the Attorney General, going back to Cabinet, and now we are the final document that we are preparing now.
All right.
So we are
so you're at the election stages.
So we are at the stage of implementation.
Implementation.
Yeah. So we are in the parish right now. We election, and we had started in St. David. And I must say, for the parish sports council, you have a 7 nomination.
All right.
And there must be elected members from all schools and clubs within the parish. So I must say that because Mr. Arvin Clauden, he's the chair of the secretariat for the sports council together with Mr. Ross. So they work really hard to make sure they got all the schools, all the clubs, all the information through the reconsultation to now to the election. Yes. So in St. David's, Mr. Justin Courtney was elected the chairman.
Okay.
With 6 other elected representatives. Then we went on to St. Andrew, the Saturday gone. The same time we had King of the Grill.
Yes.
And the next, Javon Noel was the chairman.
All right.
Elected chairman of that. We went in St. Patrick's, and our next Noel, Justin Noel, was elected the chairman. Yesterday we was in St. George at the GBSS school, and Dwayne Noel was elected the chairman for the St. George. Today we in Bel Air, Bonnet Primary School in St. Mark's from 6 p.m. Thursday we are in St. John's Fish Markets conference room for election. And then we are in Carriacou for Carriacou and Petit Martinique on Saturday for 3 p.m.
All right.
So we're on a stage this week to get all the elected members from the different parish, and they will form the board of directors of the National Sports Council together with a chairman and deputy chairman, persons from the Ministry of Sports and others. To elected to go through.
All right. Now, whether all the members are selected or elected, I would say after the election, everybody's elected. What's the main purpose of the members now?
Well, the main purpose, it help to structure the development of sports within your parish, to make recommendation on upgrade, to make recommendation on grassroots developmental program, to make suggestions and make recommendations for support of athletes,
all right,
and even for the club's development within your parish. We want to be able to, to structure the growth of sports in a way that we get the support from the grassroots program. If we have to extend sports, the sports have to develop. You see, we can't develop from the top. So you want to bring back that community togetherness. We want to bring back that community grassroots and support system for all sport.
Yes.
So then we can grow and go stronger from the foundation.
All right.
And when you're talking support, financial support for athletes that shows talent within sports to assist in competition within the parish, and all the aspect of it. So it's having, about that seat that give that representation for the holistic approach of sports. And I must say, not sports as just competitive sports, but program from non-competitive sports to family activities, for recreational activities, for fitness and wellness, to strengthen our community from there.
All right. And I guess the option is just to improve the sports in Grenada overall.
To improve the whole structure of sports and the distribution of funds for the development of the sport.
All right. Folks, we drew for a break. Let's take it. We'll be right back, folks. Stay with us here. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio Dimeon TV. We coming right back. Stay with us.
Of the Grenada 50th Independence, the Royal Grenada Police Force Band presents the second annual Mother's Night Out. Mother's Night Out. The concerts all going down on Sunday, May 12th from 5 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Featuring live from TNT. It's crazy.
Time to come. America will have a black president.
John King.
How many more?
June Lodge. Together with the Hitman Inspector, Valine Ned, Samantha Dixon, Alex Phillip, Shane, Innocent, General PP, Kareem, Alexis, Ron Barry, the African Man, and much more. Dress code elegant. It's Mother's Night Out, the Grenada Trade Center from 5 p.m. on Sunday, May 12th. Lots of giveaways and prizes to be won. Champagne and roses on entry. You don't want to miss this amazing experience for mothers. Your tickets only $70 and are available from Kittens Pharmacy in Grand Dance and Grenville, Grenadian Optical, the Police Band House, Police Canteen. Make this a date for mothers.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio Dimeon TV. Good morning once again, and welcome back to my guest with me this morning, of course, representing the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Dimeon, let's continue with you in terms of, you spoke a lot about the use of fields, the costing that will range and so forth. You did speak about that in terms of individual wanting. Now, the option of individuals wanting to use a particular field, tell us what's a procedure that they may have to go through for that, wanting to use.
That's the stage where they will have to do the application. The application, as I said, it must be done at least 4 weeks prior to the activity.
Yeah.
You address that application to the permanent secretary. You state the name of your organization, the activity you want to hold, the date of the activity. You must also have a contact and an email address for we to facilitate the response for that activity. The whole reservation system was developed in order to try to eliminate clashes with dates.
Okay.
So, for example, one person may apply for the 10th, and the next person apply for the 10th, but without the reservation system, both persons...
That could lead to problems. Problems.
So that's what the reservation system is basically for.
All right.
Also, just to bring some clarity, there are events that are exempted from the charges that was mentioned earlier. So school sports, community sports, non-profit organization, political rallies, and these other things, they are exempted from these charges. Right. But the charges would vary based on the category of field that you are using.
Okay.
The minor field will attract a lesser amount than that of the major.
All right.
So all of those things must be taken into consideration, and also the the activity that you are hosting and the amount of persons that are likely to attend the activity. That would also determine the cost.
Well, sometimes it's not always easy to determine the amount of people you're going to have on the event.
But if we're having a bingo, we know a bingo would attract over 5,000 persons.
More or less.
Right.
Well, it depends on your size of your jackpot. It depends on that. All right. So, I mean, that has brought some bit of a clarification on that. You know who's exempted, the time factor in terms of making the necessary reservations for that particular event you want. That is also important. As you said, it eliminates the clashes of events. You don't want two individuals want to show up at the same time having that event. So, and who do they come to initially for to make those applications and so forth? Who do they come through? I guess we understand the Ministry of Sports is involved, but who do they come to get that?
They can do the application and they can send it to registry at sports.gov.gd.
All right.
And the registry would put it through the mail file and it will be processed. All right. Also, when you get the response will tell you whether the application was approved or not. It will give you all the do's and don'ts, the expectations and so. So all of that was made clear in the response that the applicant receives.
All right, great. Kerlon, there was something you want to chime in on me in terms of some other activities that are coming up that you want to mention. Let's hear about it again.
Well, as I say, with sports, so right now we are presently the coaches in the cricket division is out in the primary schools together with some of the support from our senior cricketers. We are preparing for the primary school cricket tournament.
Yes.
That usually have a festival at the end. We also have the winner of each parish competing. I know Carrico is the defending champion from that in the primary school. So right now our coaches are out for the primary school cricket tournament preparation. We also looking right now. We're going to a pre-selection stage for selection of our team to participate in the Windward Islands school games to be held in St. Vincent in the July weekend.
All right.
We are the defending champion. The tournament was held here in Grenada last year. So we are looking forward to that, and we have, unfortunately, we weren't able to have to hold the two competitions within the school period. So now we are doing some selection through the parish to get the athletes for selection. But we are looking good, and we are looking good to go to St. Vincent and retain our championship.
All right, great.
We also trying to meet with the stakeholders in that form. We're looking at the coaches from all the primary schools, secondary schools to discuss the plans for scheduling of events for the school term that will start in September. You know, we have football, we have basketball, we have netball. So you want to discuss some changes because we definitely, with the expansion of the schools, the additional schools coming on a competition, and the addition of competition for different divisions that are recommended from different sports discipline, we see some conflict definitely in the scheduling. So we must come to some discussion and some understanding with this being part of the decision making, so it can be properly accepted.
All right.
And what else we have with Santa is coming up on the 18th, Mr. Castle, the 18th.
But there's some sporting activities that are having to come up, and sometimes we don't hear about.
Yeah,
we don't hear about them. Maybe because I might keep my less interest in sport for some reason. Maybe it's from my point of view. It's what people say. I'm not finding out about this thing. I mean, I'm happy to know that there's so many.
We have a website in the Ministry of Youth and Sports that's very active now, which we and we have some new persons in the PR department that put out most of the results and the schedule. We need to improve on that. We always need
probably.
That, but a lot of sports coming up. You know, we have. I think Grenada is preparing for a football tournament again in June.
Yes.
In June, we're preparing for the Grenada Invitation on the 6th of June, Thursday. We will see all the international athletes will be here, and also to say goodbye to and wish our Olympian, Mr. Anderson and Kirani all the best. So there are a lot of sports activity happening. So I'll try my best to maybe try and come in and maybe give you some
maybe on a regular basis.
And I'm a regular basis. And I must mention, I want to say, as you come out and support the parish sports council election, if you haven't reached the parish yet, but you still have a part to play, because the council will have to come back to the community to decide on what are the plan for the community and to present a budget for the way forward for the first year.
Right.
So it's very important. And we must say thanks to Mr. Patrick Simmons, the advisor to the council. I spoke about Mr. Alvin as the chair and the secretary. Have been working hard, and I feel very happy to be part of the history with the implementation of the sports council.
How happy are you to see the continued development of sports in Grenada? You've been around for a wee bit, being part of sports in Grenada. How happy are you to see the development of sports in Grenada?
I'm very, very, very happy. And when you see the interest and you see the person, just let me just give you a little story there. Butang is coming back. You heard about Josh Butang from Happy Hill that we coach, that our coaching discuss, and he's preparing, he's getting his master now in sports science and in condition and coaching, which he loves. That's really, really, see sports and we see what happened to after and the interest or sport is on a high. You look at some of the program now that we are trying to implement with football, and the minister will speak about it, with cricket at an elite program and getting persons, as support financially so they could train during the day. This is the expansion we're looking at. We're hoping with the sports policy, we will assist with the community support to give that financial contribution to the growth of the sports within there. We definitely have to look at ways, I see the expansion now is with new sports. We're looking at martial arts, kickboxing. We had the taekwondo persons. We're looking at the triathlon, so we have to think now. We see persons sending requests to go for judo and all other sports.
Can I get another of the traditional thing that we've seen before?
Yeah, so we kind of seen that coming in now. A lot of persons making requests for the implementation.
All right, great.
So it's a structure. We have put a bigger structure involved. We have some new members in the ministry. Mr. Castle is new, so we're building our human resource capacity. We have other spaces that are vacant that I know we are working at to employ persons, because with the demand of sports growth, we need to get persons so that we can run with it at a strong ministry. So
great.
Looking forward to it.
All right, great. I'm just happy to hear of it, and of course I know Carlene have more initiative that she wants to present to me this morning, and she was mentioning to me while she hasn't touched it, she just at the tip of the iceberg. I guess there's some of the initiative that you probably want to highlight before we take a wrap this morning for just this segment.
Yes, and it means that you'll have to invite me back so that we can talk a little bit more in depth. All right, I just wanted to share on a few things that we're working on. We have been continuing with the job preparedness workshops. Last year we would have started those where we engage young people and we for a day on how to write their CVs, how to write their application letter, how to prepare for interviews, etc. We're doing I think we have 2 more sessions carded for this month, and so every month we try to hold and engage a new batch. We have our youth docu-series. I encourage young people, everybody, to visit our Facebook pages and our Instagram page to see what our young people are up to and to comment, give them some inspiration and encouragement. And we ask that if you have any youth extraordinaires within your community that you would like to see featured on that particular program, that you send us their names and we'll get in contact with them to see them featured. We're working on our youth policy because we believe that it's important that youth work becomes institutionalized, it becomes professionalized, etc. So we're looking forward to working on that. We are engaged with some of our partners such as USAID, Wiry and Carry Secure, and even SGU to assess our programs, assess our organizations, etc. And they've been doing tremendous work on that. And we're looking to see how we can add more value to what it is that we're doing within the division. We also have 18 of our staff members who are currently engaged in with UE in a program on project management in youth work that is sponsored by USAID Wiry, that we can't wait to see the result and what it is that they bring back into the division and in terms of executing their job in a better mandate. They're doing amazing work, but to see the improvement that they can bring with that type of training. We have our youth biz, which is going to be launched in sometime to the middle of the year, the 3rd quarter thereabout, where we're rebranding the program in such a way that we're getting our young people to be involved in actual training. We're trying to target young persons who are interested in entrepreneurship, get them to go with GIDC, partnering with GIDC to give them training in entrepreneurship so that when they get access to the grants and loans, etc., they're doing so from a place of passion, a place that they're willing to go through the rigors of being an entrepreneur. If they fail, they get to fail up rather than to fail and leave the program and to just, abandon the loans, etc. And again, if you invite me, I can go into details with that. We have our youth parliament that we're so excited about because we introduced our youth parliament to our primary and secondary schools last year, and these young people are amazing. Our parish youth parliamentarians are currently preparing for their sittings, and after this sitting, they will go into campaign because we have our national youth elections coming up in November, where these parliamentarians will be elected to be our national youth parliamentarians for the next 2 years. We're working with the Parliamentary House office so that they can get mentorship from the actual parliamentarians. The House of Parliament will decide when they sit because they will use the template from the actual parliamentarians to say that we need youth contribution on this particular issue, and they will sit before or after the actual House sits, and they will be able to give their contribution. They will be able to do their concept notes, etc., send it to the actual parliamentarians so that they can incorporate it in their policy planning and their decision making. We have our youth ambassadors. We were hoping by now we would be at our second stage with our interviews, but again, we had such overwhelming response to the applications that our independent selection committee is there. We had over almost 200 to 300 applicants. So that's a lot for any selection committee to go through when each application is going to go through 3 persons. Yeah, just to make sure that it's fair, etc. These young persons, once selected, we're looking at about 70 young persons to join that cohort for the next 2 years. They will have access to grants to do work in their communities, etc., so that they can become ambassadors within their community and to do what it is that they're doing there. Summer program, we're looking to streamline our summer program this year. We're partnering with the Ministry of Culture and Sports as well to get our young people engaged in a targeted program for the next 2 to 3 weeks within that period, where, so for example, Mr. Peters mentioned judo or whatever. They can engage, get a crash course experience into that particular experience for that 3 weeks so that they can build interest, so that they can take it further at the end. So we're excited about a number of things that we're doing. Our social care unit, we're looking to revamp that program as well. We're bringing in a psychologist, a counselor, a social worker to offer assistance to our young people who are in need of that type of assistance.
All right. I mean, there's so much initiative that you were telling me that's soon to be implemented, and some that has already been streamlined already, and it's so much. You actually do need an hour.
Yes.
I mean, I was there. We do have to cut you a bit short this morning. We do have another guest that we need to entertain, and so I want to thank you folks for coming and sharing information. Mr. Peters, once again, thank you. Mr. Castle, thank you, and of course, Ms. Perryman, I want to thank you all for coming in this morning. You all should have been here for the entire hour to talk about it, especially, of course, Ms. Perryman. There's so much you have to talk about the initiative that has been put on by you. Thanks once again for being on the program, and I certainly hope that we could have a further conversation as it relates to all that is happening.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having us.
All the best. Have yourself a great day. First left of it. Hey, folks, you take a break. We're coming back. Do have another guest coming on. Stay tuned, folks. We will be right back.
If you don't add multi-X to your Playway bets, then you're definitely missing out on bigger winnings. The NLA has added 7X to the multi-X draws. Imagine playing your favorite Playway number or symbol for $10 with multi-X added. Then, wow! 7X is drawn. You win bigger. Not just $240, but $240 multiplied by 7. Whoa! That's $1,680. 7X added for a limited time only. Add multi-X to your Playway bets every day, 3 times per day, Monday to Saturday, for chances to win bigger. Not only free plays or winnings multiplied by 3 or 5, but winnings multiplied by 7 too. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, make your dreams come true.
Coming up, Barbados is heating up with enhanced attractions and hotel properties. World Cup cricket's touching down in the Caribbean. And Trinidad and Tobago is ready in the food department. A year's worth of beaches and more. We're talking about the Antigua and Barbuda experience. The rising stars of the track and the pool. Caribbean Village Cricket. There's endless action on and off the field. It's all next on this station.
want to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio Dimeon TV. Let's say good morning to my guest, Senator, of course, Jonathan Crette. Good morning to you, sir. And how are you doing? Nice to have you. Nice to have you.
Good morning, the Honorable GT.
The Honorable GT. I got a little bit of status this morning.
I'm doing very well, thank you. I trust the same for you and your family.
I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. It's an honor to have you. I think it's actually first time ever I'm having a conversation with you.
Yes, my last conversations was with Joseph Cadeau.
Yes.
His Excellency Joseph Cadeau.
All right. Give everybody a little extension on their title. Nice to have you with us this morning. How are you, sir? How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well. I am well. My family is well. The Ministry of Youth and Sports staff is well. So I am happy about that.
All right. We just wrapped up with more of the technocrats within the ministry a while ago. Of course, Carlene and so forth. They give an exceptional review of some of the policies that's soon to be implemented. It's great to have them. How is it for you? Has it been for you since taking up the mantle of being the minister in charge of the Ministry of Youth and Sport and so forth? How has it been thus far?
The issues are the same. The challenges are the same. I say to people that I feel like if I'm still a principal, it's just that the school has gotten bigger with a different demographic of people. So being a principal, you deal with a community where you have adults, young adults, children, etc. You have the same demographics but different needs. So I still feel like if I'm a principal, I'm still doing the community work that I used to do, the community engagement, the community empowerment, etc. It's just on a broader scale. Yes, but the youth challenges are the same. For some of them, the issues, they are more expressed, more deeply ingrained into the societal structure and culture, and as a result of that, it calls for a more surgical approach to dealing with the youth issues that we're facing with now, not just in Grenada but across the entire Eastern Caribbean.
You know, I like it. You deem the party of youth. I have a question I want to ask. You know, the former Minister of Youth, Mr. Honorable Ron Redhead. We were told that the Imani program would be transferred to the Ministry of Youth and under the NTR agency and so forth. Give us some updates on the initiative and how is things progressing so far, especially when it comes to the Imani. We still hear talk Imani this and Imani this, and tell me about it.
That is a discussion that is still ongoing. Yes, so I'll put a period there for now because it is a discussion that is still ongoing in terms of transferring the program over. But we are looking to ensure that persons graduate out of the program the way that they should, because we still have persons from batch 1 when it started over a decade ago, still in the program, and because the program was dedicated or committed to ensure that persons receive their skills training and then graduate out of the skills training program, persons who are still there, it has created a sort of a bottleneck in the system. So it's a deep dive, I should say.
Is it that they know the attention was not given to it in this period as much as it should? Would you say that's why the bottleneck, as you deem it to be, is where it is at now?
I wouldn't say that. A lot of the programs that I met at the Ministry of Youth and Sport, I understand the thinking behind it. For example, Empower Youth Biz, etc. So the former ministers who sat, I understand where their thinking processes and patterns were when they framed the program, because a lot of them are gender specific and some are not gender specific. They entail the participation of both male and female youth. So I just think that we are in 2024, and as we move further into the 21st century, a deeper dive into the programs in such a way that you put youth at the center of recovery, that the programs must have a very serious sustainable edge to it as we move into the 21st century, further into the 21st century. So as the National Youth Coordinator said, a lot of the programs we had to seek the technical assistance in evaluating where the program is right now and where we want it to be.
Why was it that necessary for that series of evaluation?
It was necessary because sometimes when a program was implemented, let's say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the individuals who took part in the program then are not the same kind or category of young people at this particular juncture. And what the young people want at this particular time is totally different to a young person of 10 years ago.
So true.
And as a result, you have to revamp the program to meet the specific industry needs of the private sector, one, as well as the personal needs of the young people who desire to have a particular skill set so that they can be marketable when they go out into the society. So from that vantage point and from that perspective, we did seek the technical assistance to evaluate some of the programs and to make them more sustainable and more value added for the young people who are going to become a part of it. We spoke about Empower, and we decided that we had to sit down and evaluate Empower so that at the end of the day, if 500 start, 250 must not graduate. So what kind of evaluation mechanisms that we're going to put in place to ensure that these young men don't fall along the way during the program, and if they do, what mechanisms do we use to pick them back up to go to their homes and say, hey, let's assist, let's work together. Why is it that you have to fall, by the wayside during the program? Is there a way that we can help you come back on track so that you can complete the program and gain that skill set so that you can be more relevant and on the cutting edge in the market that you so choose to immerse yourself in?
All right. Senator Lacrette, you stated, of course, that there's no national youth policy. I claim that was being strongly, denied by members of the last administration. You understand? I hope you get in the track of my direction when I'm going with this question.
Yes.
In fact, there have been around copies. I've had the opportunity of it too. Of course, what is the status regarding the national youth policy in Grenada as it stands now? What is the state?
When I came into office, I recognized that I was given a national youth policy, and as somebody who has been trained in policy development and policy implementation, when I looked at the national youth policy, I said, and then I asked the national youth coordinator, is there a national youth policy?
So you're saying what you saw was not really a youth policy?
No, what I saw was a youth policy whose tenure has ended.
Okay.
Because I think it was 2015 to 2022.
So if it's ended, you're saying there's not a policy?
No, because I think that the tenure
under that direction you were stating it?
Correct.
Right.
So I think that the policy, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2015 to 2022. I stand corrected.
Okay.
But the tenure of the policy had come to an end, and we are in 2024. And as a result of that, there needs to be a brand new policy on the table. And even if a policy was, in fact, I want to state categorically, when I read the policy, it was brilliant.
All right.
It was a really brilliant policy, but it suited the time then, from 2015 to 2022, or 2021, or 20. I think it was a 5-year policy, 2015 to 2020. I stand corrected, but nevertheless, it didn't go past 2024. And I said to myself, you know what? There are a lot of things in this policy that are really brilliant, but it does not suit to the time that we're living in now because the youth demographic has changed, and with a youthful population of 70%, 65 to 70% of our population under the age of 35. I mean, you definitely have to craft a policy that speaks to what's happening now in the youth industry. So that's why we solicited the technical assistance to ensure that we come up with a youth policy, as well as we will have national youth consultations, of course, so that the youth can be a part of the construction of that policy and they can speak to the direction of it as well. Right. So as Ms. Perryman said, as you can see, the team is excited. I'm overly excited. We're really excited about the youth work that we have to do. It's going to be a mammoth undertaking, but I think that we are up to the task of sports, playing fields, youth development, etc.
All right. Yeah. I just want to go back a wee bit. Since 2022, there's been no major intake, of course. We're talking back, just go back a wee bit on Imani again, or any similar program of that nature. Is there going to be any new programs provided for training opportunities? We did get here a while ago from the youth,
of course, and that's why we have to come back.
That's why you come back. But I want to hear from you as being the minister. Of course, some of these other programs that we're going to hear soon to be implemented again, or soon to be, or new, that will be new to coming.
Okay, so let me take it from a sporting perspective first.
Yes.
One of the things that we want to do, we are in discussions with GFA currently, because one of the things that we want to do, according to the GFA president, is to start what you call a semi-professional league. Okay. So our national footballers who represent Grenada from a national perspective, who are currently working in construction, supermarkets, etc. From a humanitarian perspective and from a professional perspective, we believe that it's a no-no for us. And if we really want to see the development of football in Grenada, we are coming to athletics and we are coming to cricket soon, but we are piloting the program with football. We're going to take them out of their jobs and we're going to definitely budget and pay them a stipend so that they train. All right. Every morning from a particular period to a particular period, and thereafter with a discussion in education, use them to assist in facilitating the grassroots programs at the primary school and the secondary school. I believe it's going to be a brilliant program. We're really going to see a surge of development of sports back into the primary school, because it is something that we also want to have happen. Bring back basketball, bring back football, bring back cricket in the primary school level, because these very same children, after grade 6, they matriculate into the secondary school, so you expect to see better performance at the sporting level in the secondary
for some reason.
That's right, at the secondary level of school. So we're excited about that program, but we're piloting it because I know if athletics and cricket here, they're going to say, well, what happened to athletics and cricket? But we're piloting the program. With everything you do a pilot, so that you can look at your gaps, so that you can look at the negatives and the positives of the program, and thereafter you go back to the drawing board and you recount and reshape, so that you can launch a better program with the other 2 organizations or 3 organizations that you want to encourage. As Miss said, one of the things that we want to do also is our social care program. We just hired a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, so that our young persons can have the avenue and the open door to just come and chat, especially those who are having mental issues, serious socioeconomic problems. Later on during the year, we are going to have a program where the minister has an open door policy and youth can come and sit and just have a 5 minutes on a scheduled basis, of course, because you don't want a Pandora's box that you can't control, where youth can just come and sit and just chat with the minister. From a spiritual perspective, we can pray together. Counsel can be given to them. Advice can be given to them about the path that they desire to take in life and how they go about doing so. But for now, one of the things that I said to my team is that it does not make a sense adding new programs now, especially when you have all these programs currently existing. For me, it's better to revamp what's there, make it more sustainable, make them stronger, and then futuristically, as we advance into the 21st century, when there is a need for something that the youth may champion, you see how you can craft a program, re-skills development, training, etc., that can definitely draft them in and have them furnished in that regard.
What's your vision for sports and the Ministry of Youth and Sport in general? What's your vision as being now taking up that mantle? What's your vision for sports and
So when I took up the office in January of 2024, thank you to Prime Minister for having the foresight to allow me to sit as the Minister for Youth and Sports. One of the first things that I asked is whether or not the ministry has a strategic focus. And no, we didn't. And then in a conversation with the management team, we decided that we needed to craft a strategic focus for the ministry, so that our policy agenda and our programmatic agenda is guided by the policy focus. I believe in that. So we decided that seeing that a lot of our programs are geared towards not only developing our youth from a national level, but also developing our youth for the region and from an international level, and seeing that throughout the entire public sector we do have a problem with succession planning. We wanted to ensure that our strategic focus is very linear and that it is geared towards global leadership as well as succession planning. So the years 2024 to 2027, they have been designated as the years of global youth leadership and succession planning, and that means a lot of things for us, because succession planning internally as well as externally. So we must develop the human resource capacity. As you heard the National Sports Coordinator said, we just hired a junior athletics coach who is going to be responsible for athletics both at the primary and the secondary school. So we're excited about that. 1-1 Coco GT. I know you know the saying, one cocoa fills the basket, and sometimes you don't have the expertise internally, and sometimes you have to outsource the professionalism in order for you to be able to build the kind of capacity that you want. But we are happy that we were able to find the junior athletic coach internally, and that we were able to hire the person and really begin to craft a nice grassroots program for athletics, especially at the primary school level and getting back up to the secondary level.
Youth development, your concerns in terms of youth development in Grenada. We know that what is taking place, the crime, the violence, everything in terms of young people, being not too focused in the direction that you would like to see them at. We all are concerned. We all are parents of ourselves. Youth development. What's your take on youth development? What concerns do you have in reference to that?
I'm so glad you asked. Listen, I'm of the opinion, and I have a particular ideology, thought process where that is concerned, that youth development and youth empowerment is not a sector. If I live in a particular community and I recognize that there are a number of young persons who are misguided, not effectively engaged, and I'm a concerned citizen, valuable one at that within the community structure. For example, let's take your community, and that community is?
River Road.
Oh, Ivor Road. Okay. Where my father is from, Slough. So that was his nickname. So you live in the community of River Road, and you recognize that there is a particular trend of deviant behavior amongst a group of young persons. And you want to be able to be a part of that kind of recovery or rehabilitation process for those young people. I would hope that you would find the necessary training or the necessary advocacy group to come in and chat with these young people with the permission of their parents, of course, in the community center, and kind of build a relationship with these young people and to find out why there is a persistence of this kind of type of deviant behavior. So from a very local, basic perspective, before calling into a program and asking government to fix A, fix B, fix C, fix D, I as a concerned citizen in my community must be able to see that I can definitely do something to assist these young people. And sometimes we kind of take the position that the young people, they won't listen to me or they won't hear me. Find another influential person in the community that they can gel with, that speaks their jargon, that meets them at the level of their language, so that individual can interact with them at their level and get them involved in some kind of advocacy program or activity that you can make an inroads into the deviant behavior, and as a result of that, curb it and give them an education platform so that the youth can be educated, and as a result you alleviate over time, because some of these things aren't, because they're deeply rooted in culture, they're not immediately eradicated, so that you give the youth an education platform, because with the education they are forewarned, and when you are forewarned you are forearmed with the kind of necessary ammunition you need to be able to fight the vicissitudes of life or the challenges that you come up against. So when it comes to sustainability, because that's a watchword right now across the entire globe, so every program, every policy that you put in place, you want to ensure that it is from a sustainable perspective. And for me, youth development must be sustainable, because you want youth to be a part of consistent recovery. The countries of the world, especially small island developing states, will always come under some economic shock today or tomorrow, and these economic shocks don't only affect the elderly, they don't only affect the middle age, but they also affect young people. In fact, the population that they affect is young persons the most. I'm concerned about youth unemployment. The UN article a few months ago, I believe it was March, spoke about 1.3 million young people across the entire globe who are unemployed.
But I'm missing a word from you. Incentives.
Incentives, of course. So I
to get people to be part of things and do things, they always have to be incentives.
But that is why you need the multi-sectoral approach, because I'm not hearing the church. I'm a part of the church, but you're not hearing the church, because I remember when the church used to have vibrant youth organizations: Catholic, Anglican, Methodist, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, New Testament, Open Bible. And that's why I said youth development, youth empowerment, even youth incentive is not just a sector. It cannot just be left up to a treasury budget to outfit what you want to see happen with youth. Because if the church decides to play their role and to develop community programs that would also assist young persons who don't have a particular skill set, is going to take part of the burden off of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, or by extension the government of Grenada, to implement a program like that. We can now focus on something else from a policy perspective.
Yes.
I'm getting you. So what we want to see, and that is why the stakeholder approach is necessary. And one thing Ms. Perryman did not get to mention was the job fair that we have coming up on the 1st of June in Grenville Car Park that we have been advertising.
I need her to be back.
That we have been advertising, because we recognize that youth unemployment is an issue for our young people, is an issue for me. Because I'm thinking my daughter, my son today or tomorrow, if this youth unemployment persists globally, it is going to affect small island developing states really badly. And as a result of that, what you want to happen is that these private sector organizations and NGO organizations, when they come and they sit on the tables, etc., with their brochures, applications, they give young people who come with their CVs and their resumes, etc., the opportunity for a job. For us, it's not a social media stunt, because we really want these DG Cell, Flow, I mean, just name it, a number of organizations to be there, some public sector organizations to be there, Ministry of Agriculture, the SIRE program, etc., where jobs that young people can definitely find themselves in, they're going to be offering the opportunity for young persons to become employed. And we want to be able to track those young persons as well after employment to see whether or not the employment is sustainable, they have been retained, and they are working.
The concern that folks would say, you're of course, political organization has been in power almost getting to 2 years. The previous of course, government administration would say, they got a lot of things done for youth within 6 months. Now you go into almost 2 years. Why it took so long to get a lot of these things? I heard you mention the revamping and everything else that you wanted to do. Why do you think it took so long from the previous minister to you now? There's still a lot more could have been done. Why is it at the nature?
I don't necessarily subscribe to that ideology. I'll tell you why. Because I've run various organizations before. Organizational planning and organizational restructuring, GT, takes time.
I agree.
And I want to repeat it for emphasis.
And if you want to get it right.
And if you want to get it right, and I repeat it for emphasis, organizational planning and organizational restructuring takes time, especially when you are a new entrant. Yes, there was a previous minister, Minister Redhead did his best, and that's my colleague. Yes. He did his best, and there were certain things he championed, and he got off the ground, etc. And I know, not I'm sure I know, the ministry at that particular point in time really appreciated the efforts that he made towards the various advancements that were done.
I would agree.
I'm telling you, because it's the truth. Yeah, but now I am coming in. For example, when I came in and I had a read of the national sports policy, and we had a consultation, the team had a consultation with me, and they said, Minister, I want you to read the national sports policy, give us your thoughts about it, etc. Coming from a policy background, I made some amendments to the policy, simply because I recognize that even though the policy was done 2-3 years before and was waiting to be enacted, the language of the policy now does not really speak to the future of where we want to see youth. There were some contextual things and content things that I want to change so that it becomes so that the policy is more sustainable, and that persons in the region picking up the policy, when they look at it, they can say, wow, Grenada really know what they're doing and what they're talking about, because we're not going to be the only readers of the policy. And as a result, those changes were made. So coming in, you want to be able, as the policy lead, to get a real bird's eye view as it relates to the organizational structure, what kind of organizational planning is taking place, and what kind of organizational restructuring that you have to do. Believe me, it takes time. It takes time because you have to meet with teams, you have to meet with groups, you have to meet with department heads, etc. Where are we? What documents do you have? What do I need to look at so that when I'm finished looking at it with a surgical eye, I can tell you this is the direction that I want us to go in the next 6 months, etc. So from January to now, that's what. That's just 4 months. So from a policy perspective, and that's the truth. Because if I really want to make an impact and a dent, GT, into the survivability and sustainability of youth of the 21st century in Grenada, I have to ensure that I sit conscientiously, that I read, that I tick off, I dot I's, cross T's, etc. So when I give a policy direction to the team, it's a policy direction that speaks to the future and the sustainability of youth in Grenada. As far as I know, all my colleagues take their jobs very seriously. And when it comes to youth development and youth empowerment, at the ministry, well, from the 3 guests before me this morning, we take our jobs really, 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 because if I wanted, coming in January, I could have decided, you know what, let's get rid of Empower, let's get rid of Youth Biz, throw the baby and the bathwater out of the window.
Well, the impression was also laid on that these programs were just thrown out.
Oh, no.
The impression was given that these
No. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, there was just one program based on the technical expertise that we engaged in, that we decided that program, I can't remember the name of the program, that we're not going to continue it anymore. And apart from that, you don't want to stifle or bottleneck the operational aspect of the ministry with too many programs. You have those that are gender specific and you have those that are specific to both male and female, and that's good. You take what's good from me and you walk it.
But wasn't the concern thought of in terms of the young people who are now waiting for these programs to take place? What are they doing in the meantime?
Well,
because a lot of young people were part of the Youth Biz and the empowerment and so forth. And if these programs were maybe on a slow, if we could just to use for another way of phrasing it, what were they able to do?
I think it comes with education and understanding that you must give policymakers as well as the technocrats the opportunity to evaluate and reevaluate GT, and thereafter, when we hit ground running, and that the program remains sustainable, and there is some
longevity. I agree, but sometimes the patience level is not always the way you would like it to.
When something happens in an organization, something that brings the organization's reputation into disrepute, whoever is managing the organization, whether it be CEO, manager, executive director, whatever the case may be, must definitely be very surgical about how they move forward with the improvements that they are going to make in the organization thereafter, so that whatever happened 2 weeks ago must never repeat itself.
Agree.
And if it repeats itself, there are mechanisms that goes into effect immediately that curbs whatever shock is going to take place to bring the reputation of the organization into disrepute.
Minister, we should strap for time, but of course, I know TV is going to give us an extra 5 minutes. There's one thing I want to talk to you, because it's been a little bit of concern for me, and I'm hearing of other folks within the population and so speak about it. We're talking about the student concern returning activities at the Kerlon Gym Stadium. Especially, with the multi-million-dollar, of course, refitted track that was just laid down. What does your ministry have to say about this? Especially, we have the Grenada Invitation and stuff coming up and other sports coming up. Tell us what's your take on that in terms of events of this nature taking place on the track that was just refitted and so forth. What's your concerns?
You'll have to qualify events like that.
Yeah. Well, say of course we had a reggae concert taking place a couple of weeks ago. If there's other events, we have Carnival coming up. I understand it's going to be used for that purpose and so forth. How concerned are you in relation to that? In terms of the destruction of it, the cost that went into it. I understand what was said. It could be covered and stuff like that, but it's still not what we should do with it.
It's quite fine. I see where you're going. I discern where you're going. Yes. I'm going to say this to that. From a collective responsibility perspective, we believe that national facilities like this should be used for multipurpose.
Yes. It should be used for multipurpose. It should be used understandably so.
Yeah, understandably so.
But it could be a cost to the nation on it also.
Well, understandably so. There is a cost to any kind of national facility that we use across the entire state. And if it's for the development of sports or for the development of culture, it should be used for multipurpose. Full stop.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. I understand. So. Senator Crette, I want to thank you once again for being on the program this morning. We couldn't entertain the phone calls this morning. I know there are listeners and viewers who would have liked to interact with you for some reason or the other. But
if my team can come back next week, I'll come with them.
If we could have, of course, Senator, maybe you come for the entire hour. Because there's lots more I would like to entertain with you in terms of conversation this morning. Because I just got to the tip of the iceberg and I just realized you're an easy individual to speak to. I like an individual that frees themselves up in conversation.
It is what it is.
Some folks give you that tight feeling and it becomes a problem. So I want to thank you once again for being with me this morning on the program. Sir. It's a pleasure to have you as always. You're don't be a stranger.
No
you
problem.
Understand?
Yes. Terry has been begging me for a while also.
Yeah.
He had to pull
I thought you were ducking me for some reason.
No, not at all. Duck the media. Not at all. Terry had to pull teeth. It was like pulling teeth to get me because of the cumbersomeness of my schedule.
I got the call really early this morning. Senator Lacra is going to be, and I was happy to know that. So, anything in closing before you say, of course?
I just want to say thank you very much to the public for the support. Thank you very much to my cabinet colleagues for the support with the work that we're doing, youth development and youth empowerment. And I also want to encourage all other stakeholder organizations. Whenever we call for our stakeholder engagement, we really want you to get on board so that we have that kind of multi-sectoral approach towards youth empowerment and youth development. Youth empowerment and youth development is not a sector. It should not be left up to a government, whether it be Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, etc., if we're looking to have holistic young people who are whole in their operations in life, then the government alone can grow them. The spirituality from the church must be there, NGO skill set must be there, etc. Whatever programs and projects that NGOs embark on, re-youth, the skill set that youth get from that, they must also be, NGOs must also be a part of it. You want a holistic nation with holistic young people who think holistically and act holistically. The government of Grenada alone cannot build and advance these young people. It must be a multi-sectoral approach, and we really want stakeholders to get on board where youth development and youth empowerment is concerned.
I would agree with you on that 100%. Thank you once again, Senator.
The pleasure is mine.
All right, then. Hey, folks, as we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point, of course, all the best to all our listeners and viewers. Join us again for another edition. That's where we say goodbye.